We're here in the Dundonald Cemetery and on the way to find the final resting place of one of two Titanic survivors buried here in the Dundonald Cemetery. Johnny Hagan, his grave is largely unmarked, but the final resting place of Mary Sloan Gleeson is totally unmarked. So this is the perimeter, the very back of the cemetery. Behind this section, you might be able to see it through the trees there. It's the Cumber Greenway, the old railway line from Belfast to Cumber, and then out to either, depending on what way you went, to Newton Ards, and then to the end of the line at Donegal. When you got to Cumber, however, you could also go to Newcastle, County Down. So that's just behind here. Buried in this totally unmarked section is Mary Sloan Gleeson. Now, Mary Sloan Gleeson was a survivor of Titanic, and yet she is buried here, but there's no headstone here to commemorate that she survived Titanic. She was working for the White Star Line, and when the ship got into trouble then, she was advised by Thomas Andrews, high up in Harland Wolff at that stage, that it was very serious, the situation with Titanic. She needed to get into a lifeboat. She eventually did after a second conversation with Andrews. Some say she was amongst the last to leave the sinking ship. So she returned to the UK on board the SS Lapland, and then she emigrated to America. She came back here in her latter years, and she was living in the Sandown Road, in other words, a couple of miles from here, when she died. Now, Sandown Road, there are nice houses there, so I can't quite understand why there's no markings on this grave. 1979, there was a film called SOS Titanic, and in that film, the part of Mary Sloan was played by Helen Mirren. Again, here on the outskirts of the cemetery here, in the Dundonald Cemetery. Huge place. That's the unmarked final resting place of one of two Titanic survivors buried here in the Dundonald Cemetery.